Welcome back to The Rhode Show. This morning in The Buzz, you know, there are couples out there who take 2 months just to figure out the fonts for their wedding programs. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's people like that with the details. It's like, just pick something, all right? But then there are couples that say, hey, you know when you know, right? And in fact, Prince William and Kate Middleton will have been engaged only 6 months by the time they say I do on Friday. Many brides and grooms seem to feel the same way. Short engagements reflect on modern mating trends, where couples date and likely live together for a while before they get married. So they see no point in waiting once they decide to get married. But according to a study, the average engagement length is still just about 14 to 16 months. We checked in with some of you to hear what you had to say.
Our engagement was, we got engaged in May and we got married in August. So it was very short. When you know, you know. When you just meet that person and you just know, and that's it. If you meet someone and you're unsure, it's probably not the way to go. But I was very lucky, and I just knew.
I like short ones because I married my husband about 3 months after I met him, and we've been married 42 years. So I'm all into the get to know him, but you know it's when it's right.
I dated my wife for about 8 years before we got married, so we kind of did a very long engagement, which we became very good friends first, which I thought was nice.
Oh, and we thank you all for those who share their thoughts with us. So the question is long engagements versus the short engagements. First of all, let's talk a little round robin here. What did you had a longer one, right?
Well, we dated for, let's see, since 97. We got married in 2001, so dated for about 4 years, but we were engaged in April of 2000, April 15th, tax day, you'll never forget that day. Yeah. And we're married in June of 01, so just over a year.
All right, what about you, TJ?
We dated for a couple years before we were married. It was like an 11-month engagement.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Ours was quick. We got engaged in February or March and were married by September of that year.
No, you were like 18.
I was child bride. No, I was 22.
But you were, you know, at that point, like you're thinking, your head's spinning. You didn't really have time to get into it. You didn't have any money.
No,
you just wanted to just get married, right?
I had just started my first TV job. I was in Burlington, Vermont. My poor mother, Mom, if you're watching, thank you. She basically planned everything. Yeah. That's why I always say I'd like to do it again, because my mom really did a lot of work for me because I was out of state. It's not much that I could do from Vermont. It's not like we had the internet really to like do stuff. And I basically, like 3 days before the wedding, showed up. My poor mom was so stressed that week, you know, because she did a lot of it. So I think a longer one would have been not good for my mother.
Yeah, if you have to be a very good planner to have a short engagement, especially if you're detail-oriented. I mean, you need to have everything, you know, all your ducks in order, and you need to know what to do. If a long engagement, that's probably for the, you know, the slackers like me. Well, put things off.
A lot of it had to do with, if I can remember correctly, was trying to find a place to get married. We were married in June, which is a pretty popular month to get married. So. And then finding, you know, having the church be available and also the wedding reception venue. So, you know, I joke with people that the benefits of a short engagement is, you know, I wouldn't have a chance to screw it up, the whole wedding thing. But, and the downfalls of a long engagement is I have more of a chance to screw it up.
I honestly think you gotta really find the happy medium. I think the whole like between 6 months and a year is good, because once you start dragging it beyond like 16 months, it's almost too much time and too much stress buildup. You know what I mean? To have that anxiety for so long waiting for just that one day.
If you could change one thing about your wedding day, what would it be?
Just go to Vegas.
A lot of people say that.
Ignore it. Just get it over with.
I think a lot of people realize after it's done, it was so much planning and money, you know, for one day. What about you?
I wouldn't have invited all my college roommates because the bar tab was enormous.
What would I have changed? I might have changed my bouffant headpiece, which we saw yesterday.
You know what the favorite part of my wedding though was, Courtney? I had a horse-drawn carriage.
That was awesome.
Horse and buggy from the church in Barrington to the reception
at
Rhode Island Country Club, up Washington Road, then down Nate Road, an open horse and carriage like Central Park in Barrington.
It's so royal of you. Who knew, you know, that many years ago?
I had nothing to do with it. It was my wife. She did everything. No plan.
That's very cool. I like that. I like that idea. I actually have a lot of guys on the live blog this morning, and they were all sharing what happened when they got married and about their engagements and stuff like that. So we will hear from their side this morning. Let's start on FoxProvidence.com. And Tripp said, I think a year is a good time frame between planning the wedding and the honeymoon. honeymoon, you have to have advance notice to get the places, dates you want. He says, my engagement was 2.5 years because we were saving up money for a house. Anthony says 1 to 1.5 years should be plenty long enough to get everything in order. And JB said it was only 6 months for me, but we only had a small wedding, 50 people, and did most ourselves. So here's the poll we're asking our Roadshow viewers this morning. What's an appropriate length of time for an engagement? 1 year or less is long enough? More than a year, too many details? Or the last one, as long as it takes, no need to rush it. We've got a few comments on our Facebook page today, and what's funny is these are all from women. So we will hear from Amanda Smith first. She said, due to the economy, I've been engaged for 2 years. We are at a point where jobs and saving money for emergencies is more important than dresses and wedding cake. And Teresa Sweet says many churches, venues, and photographers book at least 1 to 2 years in advance, so I think it definitely depends on the couple. And finally, Patricia Fargley says it depends on the couple and how much they can spend. So we have lots of comments from our viewers today, but can't wait to hear from all of you at the end of the show on our poll to see what you think is long enough.